I mean, it is the reality of the scenario because, like, growing up, we weren't taught that way. Like, you go to school, you have to pass the test. It's not like they say, oh, failing the test is okay. No, like, if you fail, then they're going to hold you back. When in reality, like, to get good at anything in life, you have to fail forward. If you're not okay with failing, then you're not going to make any progress. And I always use like professional athletes as an example of this because they are professional failures. Like, for example, for any of the baseball players in here, like a good batting average is like, you know, 1 out of every 4 times you get a hit. It's usually like 0.250 is like what a professional batting average is in the MLB. So you're telling me that you fail 3 out of every 4 attempts, yet you're getting paid the big bucks? It's because they're able to continue to keep working at their highest ability, no matter how many times they fail. Like even the greatest professional athletes there are, like I saw a statistic about Michael Jordan the other day, and it was like it said something like he took like 900 game-winning shot attempts, and out of those 900 attempts, he only made like 100 of them. Yet somehow he's the best basketball player that there ever was. So it's just the ability to continue to keep working at your highest level, no matter the results. Like if you can just focus on the process, if you can just focus on giving the most amount of energy, the most amount of effort, the most amount of focus in every single attempt that you give, that's when you allow the results to be a byproduct. And that's when you're going to find progress. And I'm here to tell you that, like, especially in this business, losing is inevitable. I don't care who you talk to. I don't care what, social media page you're on. Nobody's going to have 100% win rate. And if they're telling you that they do, that is completely false. Nobody has a 100% win rate, whether they show you their losses or not. Okay, so don't look for perfection. My only suggestion that I have for this is to be able to be objective to both your winners and losers. You should be able to learn from both of those experiences. You should not be emotionally induced by either one of those experiences. If you have a winning trade and then you gain too much of an ego, that is just as bad as having a losing trade and gaining too much fear. If you could just be objective to both of those results and continue to learn from them, that's when you're going to make progress. To add one more statement into that conversation before we get into any price action, your journal. Your journal is going to be the most important thing to you. You have to be journaling. And when I say journal, you can't just, get pissed off at your losing trades and forget to journal them. You can't become too euphoric with your winning trades and not journal them. Every single experience needs to be journaled. And not just price action, right? Not just a screenshot of price action. You also have to be journaling what you're thinking, what you're feeling, like what happened during the time of, what made you think that way, the cause and effect relations to that. So the journal has to be as documented as possible with technical analysis, fundamental analysis, mental and emotional state, thoughts and actions, as detailed as you can get. And that's going to be your best learning opportunity because it's you. It's nobody else. It is the most raw sense of you. And so that's why I have no problem documenting every single day, every single week. There's so many toxic behaviors out there in the world that even when I document, people are always providing their opinion, whether good or bad. I would also say that another ability to make progress is to turn off all that noise. You cannot be deterred by somebody else. So maybe it's better to keep it private, right? If you don't want any of those opinions at all, then just keep your journal private. If you really want to test your mental abilities, your emotional intelligence, then sure, have a public journal. But I'm here to tell you, if you're going to allow any of that noise to deter your work, that's going to be a problem, because everybody always feels like providing their opinion. Right? Like, I can't tell you how many times somebody has told me how stupid I am for the analysis I post on, YouTube or my live streams or Twitter or whatever. But somebody else's opinion does not determine your results. So becoming an independent thinker is the best way forward for you. Obtain your own data and be able to objectively analyze that. Don't let anybody hold you back from it.
Love these conversations. Drop a 1 if you're still with us, chat. I know there's 288 people in here. We're about to get, into the opening within, 10 minutes. I know that we didn't basically give a little like recording thing or all that. Is there any chance that you have this a little bit recorded on your end? I know we kind of just started jumping into it because a little bit I guess started a little bit later, but I want to make sure that we get some people
check.
to.
Yeah, it is being recorded. Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate everyone that's here. If you guys also drop a heart in the chat for Ash being here, spending his morning. Everyone inside the 2 Degrees Discord, we really appreciate him being here. Everyone that also came from your Discord, Ash, we appreciate them being here. Also supporting you in all the communities as well. That means a lot. So there's been quite the amount of people that just came by and pretty much know your Discord and also have joined our Discord for mutual efforts, and just sharing the love just means a lot, and I just appreciate that a ton. Just a very strong community with everybody.
Absolutely. I also wanted to say thank you. So thank you to everyone that's here. I greatly appreciate all of the conversations. I truly believe that working together provides a better experience. If we were to be doing this on our own, then we'd be limited to our own experiences. So I do always enjoy being able to be around other like-minded professionals. If I were to be documenting on my own, then I'm limited to my own documentation. But for all the other like-minded professionals that continue to keep showing up every single week, you are very valued as well. The amount of information that you're providing is greatly appreciated. And everybody around you gets, 10, 20, 30 learning opportunities versus just looking at one person's documentation. So thank you, everyone, for participating. And I greatly appreciate every single one of you as well. So today I wanted to take some time to go through some questions and answers. Majority of the times that I come in here and stream, it's usually me going over my model and talking about how I trade. I did want to focus today on more of a question and answer type of session so that I can make sure that I'm getting to each one of the questions instead of me analyzing the chart. We can go through the chart and my information. So I guess we can start with that. So anybody that's new here can see the model, can see the information, so that there's a frame for the questions. I'll just take a couple more minutes because I usually get to say good morning to everyone. I didn't get to say good morning to everybody today. So good morning or good day, depending on where you're from. I do see a bunch of familiar faces, so thank you again. So let's begin to go over the information. and then we'll do some questions and answers. Hey, good morning, Alexis. How are you doing today? Good morning, Balloon Trader. Hope your day is going well.
Just got a quick heads up for everyone. If your messages aren't going through, it's because you have not verified your account on WAP. This is to prevent scammers and spammers entering our Discord and mass sending messages. So we appreciate everyone understanding. You just go on our WAP. It's free to join, and you just claim your Discord role, and that verifies your account. Appreciate everyone understanding.
Good afternoon, Funky Town. Good morning, Raymond. Good morning, Quill. Good morning, Tio. Hope everybody's day is going well. The first question was, since you start trading at 8:30, if there's news at 10 a.m., will you wait until 10 or still look for entries? Yesterday, I had a loss, and there was a 10 a.m. news. So you have to understand your risk tolerance, right? So we know that news is a volatility injection. That's the only thing that we look at news as. Whatever the news presents does not determine the direction of price. The only thing that news presents is volatility. So, understanding that whatever time that volatility will be injected is a risk tolerance, right? Are you comfortable with higher volatility? Yes or no? If you're not, then don't take the trade. You understand what I'm saying? So, what you're looking at right now is a perfect example of this, right? 9:30 a.m. is the same exact thing as a news driver. There will always be volatility injected at 9:30 a.m. That's because that's when the public is allowed to start participating in the stock market, right? So there's an influx of volatility. If you're not comfortable with volatility, then do not take the trade. Risk management is always the number one priority at all times. Okay? It is a risk tolerance. Good morning, NSFX. Good morning, Green Reaper. Good morning, Yaya. Good morning, Trader Kyra. Hope everybody's doing well. So how does current time impact your decision to take or not take this trade? That's exactly what I was just referring to there. Right. So again, 9:30 open will have volatility injected into the marketplace. Are you willing to risk that volatility? Yes or no? Right. So it's an internal decision. You have to understand yourself. It's very simple. There will be another opportunity at all times. So if it fits your model, if it fits your risk, then okay, take the trade. What matters is the justifications to your actions, right? Creating a defined process, creating defined risk management standards or limitations, and adhering to them. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Edward. Good morning, Uday. Good morning, For Real. Good morning, Llama. Good morning, Mint. Good morning, Hugh Etrinity. Hope everybody's day is going well. So we'll take some time and we'll start to get into the model, and then we can talk about any questions or comments regarding the model. If anybody has been here with me before, it's going to sound repetitive. It's because it is. It's the same thing every single time. That's the purpose behind it, is having those justifications to your actions, almost as if they are cause and effect relations. Understanding how or why you make decisions is very important. So I'm going to begin to go over those right now. My game plan has been and always will be time is the most important element. So we always start the day on the economic calendar. Right, so you can see here that we had Trump speaking. It's a red folder. Red folders are the only thing that we're concerned with. I don't care about the yellow folders. I don't care about the orange folders. I do care about the gray ones. I don't participate on bank holidays. But red folders are what we're concerned with. We need to know when the red folders occur, because that is the volatility injection I was just referencing. On top of the red folders, the other important aspect of time is the opening times. Asia open, London open, New York open. Okay, so you need to understand the important times. That's the first part of the game plan. Right, so for today, New York open is what we want to be dealing with. We did have a 9 a.m. red folder, so that already occurred. So there's nothing to worry about now that has already occurred. After time is bias or draw on liquidity. In my opinion, those two things mean the same exact thing. Whatever price is reaching for. Okay. The way that we look for bias or draw on liquidity is we go to the daily chart and we're looking at swing highs, swing lows, and FVGs. Right, so a quick example here is you can see that price got rejected from this bearish FVG. When price is located at a bearish FVG, we would have a bearish bias, and we'd aim for the other form of liquidity, being the swing low. Price is only ever doing two things. It's either rebalancing an imbalance, or it's reaching for a level of liquidity, a swing high or swing low. Right, so we look at bias by the understanding of FVGs, swing highs, and swing lows. When we're at a bearish FVG or a swing high, we have a bearish bias. When we're at a bullish FVG or a swing low, we'd have a bullish bias. Lastly, for the last portion of bias or draw on liquidity, is understanding invalidation. Invalidation is when we displace through one of those locations. So take a look at this here. Here's a quick example of invalidation. All right, so this would give me a bullish bias, right? Because we swept a swing low and we close back inside the range. That's when you would want to have a bullish bias. Now, invalidation, right? I just mentioned a bearish FVG giving me a bearish bias, but when you displace through a bearish FVG, that's what invalidation is. So this would be invalidation to a bearish bias. Price went right through the bearish FVG and displaced through it. So displacement is key in understanding invalidation. Same thing for swing highs and swing lows. If you displace through a swing low, then I would not want to be bullish because of the displacement. Displacement is key in understanding invalidation to a bias. Okay, so that's currently what we're looking at here. We have to understand whether we're displacing through the swing low or if we will be wicking the swing low and moving back inside the range. That's what I would be dealing with today. Do we wick the swing low or do we displace through it? Right, that's what I would be looking at for today in terms of a bias. Okay, so then we move to the hourly chart. Hourly chart we use for our market structure or our higher time frame points of interest. So since we're at a swing low on the daily, I would have confirmation to that bias if we had a change in market structure, right? A change in the state of delivery. When the market structure changes, that looks like we're moving back internal. Right, so understanding market structure is very important. If we were to have a change in the state of delivery at the current location that we are at, that would make me bullish and look for a move back internal. This is where the change in the state of delivery would be for today on our market structure time frame. All right, so then comes entry function. In terms of the game plan, again, time is the most important element. We're looking at New York AM session. We already had a 9 a.m. red folder. Bias or draw on liquidity, we're at a swing low on the daily. Right? And then entry function is the unicorn model. So for my entry function, I look for a breaker block plus an FVG during the opening times, which is the unicorn model. Right? So we'll look for a unicorn as we're waiting and watching. Right? This one failed already. Probably because it was before New York Open. Right? Time being the most important element. As we're waiting and watching, we can see if another one develops. ES took out the low as well. It's like NQ is acting as the stronger pair. Right, and now to talk about the entry function. The first thing that you need for the entry function is a stop hunt. A stop hunt is a run below a swing low. Right, so you have a swing low, then you have a swing high, then you run below the initial swing low, creating a stop hunt. The next thing that you would need for the entry function is displacement through the highest up close candle. The breaker block's always going to be found in this leg here, in the initial swing low to initial swing high. That's where you'll find the breaker block. For a bullish breaker, you need the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. And then to make that a unicorn, the last concept you need is to have the FVG aligned with it. All right, so you have your stop hunt here. Price ran below the swing low. After running below the swing low, we're now trying to displace through the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. Right, so you have step 1 and step 2. You need to have the FVG aligned with it as well. So we'll wait and see if, this becomes an FVG in here. So we want to be operating during New York Open. We want to be operating in line with the higher time frame bias or draw on liquidity. Then we look for a breaker block that has an FVG aligned with it as our entry function. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the model and how I trade each day. Now to understand some risk management to implement the model. I always enter at the beginning of the breaker block with a stop loss at the low. And that's what I was trying to show you earlier, is this is what entry would look like, and you aim for 2R. So I'm a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward trader. All right, and see, price failed to displace through the breaker block. So again, step 2 and step 3 of the entry function are not confirmed. On top of the fact that there cannot be an SVG aligned with the breaker block because of this big wick. But just to show you the entry function to understand, let's take a look at ES. Maybe ES has it. ES hasn't displaced through it yet. I just want to go over the risk management part of it as well. We'll see if ES ends up developing it or not. Since ES has an ability to still be a unicorn, we'll watch this. The risk management part is that we're always entering at the beginning of the breaker block with a stop loss at the low, aiming for 2R. Now, I know everybody, or not everybody, but the majority of people here are participating in prop firms. So take a look at this number here, right? The amount of points to your stop loss looks like 32 points. If this was to confirm, this is not a confirmed entry model. I'm just talking about the risk management portion of the model. 32 points. Well, we're on ES right now. Even just one contract on ES, 32 points, right? 32 times 50. Okay, so if that's too large of risk, that's when you have to understand position size. Right? Go down to the micros, get off of ES, and go to MES. Because this number here should always be your drawdown divided by 10. So whatever prop firm you're using, whatever account size you're using, your drawdown divided by 10 should be your risk per trade. So if this is too large of a stop loss on ES to fit those parameters, get off of ES and go to MES. Okay, and then next point to the risk management is execution. Doesn't look like you're going to get a bullish setup here. They just keep sending it lower, but I'm trying to complete the model conversation before we get into questions. The management portion is, for me, I'm a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward, right? So I'm not the individual that after price moves in my favor that I raise my stop loss to break even. I'm not that type of individual. I'm not sitting here saying what's right or what's wrong. I'm telling you about my model. And the important notes to take away here would be to have your model defined. If you want to move to break even, that's fine. Just do it every single time. Make it mechanical is what I'm trying to say. For myself, I'm a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward. I accept the risk before the risk is taken. Once the risk is taken, I let the probabilities play out. Once the position is filled, I'm either going to be stopped on it or it'll be plus 2R. There's been a very rare amount of time that there's been less than 2R. I'm not sure where you're going with this, Krypton. You keep mentioning the same thing. Stop loss is at the swing low or the swing high. You changed your stop loss placement. The position before the market opened was not a position. I was getting prepared for this conversation. So I understand that it's right. The swing low on the first position would have been at this swing low. Now that we're looking at a different position, it would be at this swing low. So maybe that's what we're referring to. But no, the stop loss goes at the swing low or the swing high. Right. This is a different position, so this would have a different stop loss than that first one that we were looking at, if that's what you're referring to. This didn't get confirmed anyways, as I mentioned. So this is, I'll take it back off the screen so there's no confusion here. I'm just talking about the model. So fixed risk to reward is where I left off. I don't go to break even. After the order is filled, it's either stop loss or take profit. There's been a very minimal amount of times where I close the position before that happens. That would be because prop firms don't allow you to hold trades overnight. So if your take profit was not hit before the market closes, they will close your position. You're not allowed to hold positions overnight. In futures, at least. I know there are some forex firms that allow you to. But I trade futures, so I'm not allowed to hold them overnight. The only other reason to close a position early is if I can't execute the position, right? So if my wife asks me to complete some kind of responsibility where I can no longer focus on my position, if I can't manage my position, then I'm not going to be in a position. It doesn't matter that it's a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward, because the purpose behind that is that you have to ensure that your orders are being placed and filled. It doesn't matter if you have a set it and forget it attitude, because what happens when they miss your order, right? We've seen many trade evade issues. We've seen many top step X issues. There's many times where orders don't get filled. So in my opinion, I'm not looking to take that risk. If I can't manually execute my position, then I'm not going to take it. So those are the only two scenarios in which I would close before a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward. Okay, so taking a look at New York Open so far, we haven't gotten anything yet. There's no confirmed model here yet. We got a sweep of the lows at the open, and that's it so far for both NQ and ES. Take a look at the 15-minute chart as well. Yeah, there's no breaker block plus an FEG. So in terms of the model, there's nothing to execute here. Now we can go into any questions or answers. If you want to throw some questions in the chat regarding the model or regarding any kind of risk management or psychology that goes into it, I'll gladly answer any kind of questions as we're waiting to see if a model is confirmed during our session. Have you gotten better opportunities since switching to 830? I wouldn't call it better or worse. In terms of results, I've only taken 2 trades before 9:30 this year. My hunting hours are currently 8:30 to 11 a.m. There's been 2 times where I've taken trades before 9:30. One was a win, one was a loss. So in terms of better or worse, it's 1 win, 1 loss right now in terms of 8:30 start. If a unicorn did present itself, would you not wait for the hourly market structure before executing? That is what I would wait for, and that's why I had mentioned it earlier, right? I'm not willing to instantly become bullish right now because look at the market structure. I understand that we're at a daily swing low, right? So a location to have a bullish bias at a daily swing low. But when I mentioned the daily swing low, the next thing that I did was I went to the hourly chart. Oh, nice. Okay. My screen froze there for a second. After I pointed to the daily swing low, the next thing I did was I went to the hourly chart and pointed to the change in the state of delivery, right? Because we currently need to know if we're displacing through that daily swing low or not. An hourly change in the state of delivery would give us that information. If we had a bullish change in the state of delivery here, that would look like the daily swing low was swept. This is the daily swing low here. If we had an hourly change in the state of delivery, that would look like it's a sweep of the daily swing low that we are moving back internal. We have not had a change in the state of delivery. Right, so I'm not instantly becoming bullish here. I can't believe you're only 30 years old. Oh man, geez, give me some grace. My birthday's on May 5th. I'm still 29. Trying to hold out in the 30s as long as I can. What are your trading days? So in terms of risk management, that'll determine the trading days. I only risk 1 time per day and 2 times per week, right? So if I've already taken 2 trades on the week, I'm no longer trading the rest of the week. In terms of trading days, I don't trade Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll week. I don't trade CPI. I don't trade FOMC. I don't trade bank holidays. So those are days that I do not participate. Then I look at the economic calendar and I look for red folders. I'd rather be participating on days that have red folders. That doesn't mean I can't participate on days that don't have red folders. That just means on days that don't have red folders, I'm more patient and selective than normal. what prompted the switch to 830? I had a good year last year and I wanted to take more trades. Unfortunately, I have not averaged more trades this year. I wanted to be able to scale up. Come to find out, the comfort zone is 1 to 2 trades a week, so I have not been able to get away from that yet. I'm still only averaging 1 trade a day maximum and 2 trades a week maximum. What's your experience with trading Bitcoin? I don't trade Bitcoin. I have long-term investments in ETH and Bitcoin, but I don't day trade them. There's been very few times where I've made purchases in ETH and Bitcoin. To be exact, I've purchased both of them 2 times each so far. All right, so I have 4 purchases in total for crypto, and they were only in ETH and Bitcoin. And the sole purpose of those purchases were long-term investments. I'm looking to hand that down to my kids. So it's not a trade, it's an investment. See, so ES is continuing to head lower. No change in the state of delivery. Pretty clear here that this is not a sweep of the swing low, that we're displacing through it. The daily swing low here. If you're displacing through a swing low, that looks like continuation. And ES is getting some of that continuation here this morning. NQ is just stuck in a range, so there's nothing to do here in terms of executing. Ash, how many years have you been trading? I've been trading for 7 years. Again, feel free to throw any questions or comments in the chat. We went over the model. Ever since going over the model, we were looking for the model to appear. The model has not appeared on NQ. This thing is just going sideways since the open. And same thing with ES. ES got some continuation lower, but there was no model to execute there. What conditions give the best time periods to trade? There's really no that's a hard question to answer because you can trade any type of condition if you understand how to trade. Right? Like if price is consolidating, then if you understand how to use consolidation, you can trade it. If price is trending, If you understand how to trade continuations, you can trade it. I don't think there's a best time to trade. It's all probabilities. Like clean price action? Well, this is not clean price action. If you don't have a model on your screen, then I would not be trading. Right? Like price is just taking both sides of the range right now and then staying within the middle of the range. So if you're talking about clean price action, this is not clean price action. There's nothing definitive that we can do with this price action. Right? Something definitive would be sweeping a low and then creating our entry function. Yes, there are individuals in the Discord that trade London session. I'm from the East Coast. I'm in the US, so I don't trade London session. I'm normally sleeping from 10 p.m. to like 7 a.m. What should be the ideal win ratio for a beginner? I don't think you should aim for certain statistics. You should just look to gain as much experience as possible. I don't think you should be focused on results. I think you should only be focused on the process. Focus on creating a defined process and then focus on implementing that process, then allow the results to be a byproduct of it. What are some adjustments you've had to make for participating in Trump markets? Yeah, for anybody that was not here during the first Trump administration, you have to understand that there's clearly more volatility with Trump in the office. And so if you weren't here during 2020, then you're just experiencing it now, and Trump brings a lot of volatility. So that means size appropriately. That or be more patient and selective than normal. Right? I still trade my model the same way I've always traded my model with proper position sizing. It's changing the state of delivery the only thing you look at for the hourly time frame. I'm also looking at swing highs, swing lows, and FE. So I guess going back to the question about conditions to give, best time periods to trade. For me to take a trade, I want my bias to be aligned with the market structure. Then during New York Open, I want to see an entry function aligned with my bias from a higher time frame point of interest. The higher time frame point of interest are the hourly swing highs, swing lows, and FEGs. So I use the hourly chart for market structure and higher time frame points of interest. What caused the last piece of your puzzle? Or I'm sorry, I don't know how I missed the beginning. What was your aha moment that caused the last piece of your puzzle? Risk management. Understanding that it's all just numbers. Once you can realize that you will have losses, once you can handle those losses because you have the proper risk management, then it's just a matter of gaining more data. You're going to have losses. As long as those losses are smaller than your winners, those losses aren't going to mean anything, right? So the reason why I focus on a 1 to 2 risk to reward is because you only have to have around about a 40% win rate to be profitable using 1 to 2 risk to reward. Then once you gather that data through experience, right, when you actually do it yourself and prove to yourself that you can execute 1 to 2 risk to reward, that you can execute at least a 40% win rate, that's when you stop getting deterred by losses. That's when you stop having the feeling of needing to make it back. You'll get rid of the revenge trading. You'll get rid of the anger trading where you size up after a loss, which you should never do. You'll get away from the emotional trading once you can realize your own data. I don't see too many indicators on your chart. I don't use indicators. I'll take a look at StatMap, as you saw in the beginning of the stream. I'll take a look at StatMap every now and then to understand the open high-low close of the daily candle or the open low-high close. But I don't use indicators outside of that. Why didn't you take the setup that happened before the open? Because of the news. Trump was speaking. If you look at the economic calendar, Trump was speaking at that time. Oh, I stand corrected. I'm sorry. I thought I didn't take it because of this reasoning, but I thought this said AM. That's on me. I mean, I'm happy I didn't take the risk because it didn't work out, but I thought this was 9 AM. No harm, no foul, though. So I'm more than okay with not taking any risk. That's in the PM, though. So definitely note that. I wrote this up here, too. I'm surprised none of you guys pointed that out to me when I wrote out the game plan. Feels good to see I wasn't the only one that thought that was 9 AM. Jeez.
I guess this is a good little time to remind everyone that the escape comes with alerts, and you can enable those, and then you'll get an alert 10 minutes before the news from economic calendar from forex.com.
Very nice. Very nice.
I'm happy to set that up in your server, Ash, as well, so that your members can take advantage of that as well. Shoot me a DM, and we'll get it sorted.
Yeah. Yes, this is being recorded. Thoughts on EU? We're in the same position, but opposite of indices, right? You're at a swing high, but we need to know if we're displacing through the swing high or not. Right, so we're at a swing high. If you get a change in the state of delivery here, then that's when I would look back internal. Daily swing high is right here. If you get a bearish change in the state of delivery, which would be right here, then I would look for a move back internal. If you do not get a change in market structure, then we must be continuing. Failure to create a change in the state of delivery is insight to order flow. So analyze the change in the state of delivery. Does it occur? Yes or no? That'll determine whether we move back internal or continue higher. That's what I have to say about EU. I struggle to find the breaker block while it's forming. Any tips? Anytime you have a swing low swept, you would have a new breaker block. So let's just do a bullish example real quick. All right, so this swing low is swept here. You look in between the initial swing high and the initial swing low. That's where the breaker block would be until the next swing low is swept. So once this is swept, once the new swing low is swept, I would no longer look at this. And I would be looking at this here. And same thing. Anytime a new swing low is swept, I no longer look at the previous information. Right, so this would be the current breaker. You'd have to get displacement through it. This would be the correct breaker block here. Use the most recent information. Anytime a new swing low is swept, you'd have new information. The breaker block is between the initial swing low to swing high. For a bullish breaker, it's the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. Same exact thing for bearish positions. A bullish breaker will always be an up close candle. A bearish breaker will always be a down close candle. How much do you rely on NQ SMTs with YM? As you can see my watch list over here. I don't look at YM. I use NQ and ES. So I'm only looking at NQ and ES. $9.25 to $9.30. Bearish setup on NQ. Now you have a swing high here. Swing high, swing low, stop hunt. And now it's displacing through the... So I agree with what you're saying. This looks like a continuation breaker. 9.25 and 9.30. I agree with what you're saying. $9.35 is not a breaker block. We're heading lower right now. This is a bearish continuation breaker. Did you take a look at copper? I don't think I've ever looked at copper before. What's the HG? My first time ever looking at copper. Bearish setup, I would agree with what you're saying. Right, this being a stop hunt. Lowest down close candles before the leg up that took liquidity. There's an FVG aligned in here. See, did it happen at... Oh, nice. It did sweep out some highs too, so an hourly swing high was swept. Daily bias isn't very clear. It's kind of just going sideways here. But I do agree with the fact that we swept an hourly swing high That would be a location to look for shorts. And at that location, you get the bearish breaker. So I do agree with that statement. Any reason you didn't take today on NQ? Which one? In the beginning of the stream, I was having a conversation regarding the model. I was trying to show everybody my model. So that was just a presentation regarding the model. I wasn't looking to risk anything. I was just talking about the model. Gold, 5 minute. Yeah, I was just telling everybody what my model was earlier. GC, 5 minute. It's not formed yet. Right, if you're trying to look at this as a breaker, it has not displaced through it yet. If you're trying to look for a bullish one here, this has not formed yet. So I'm not looking to make this some kind of signal service. If we don't have any other questions or comments, then we'll begin to wrap it up. But if you do have any questions or comments, we can go over any part of the business. I'll gladly hand out any information. I'm not trying to just sit here and look for positions. The purpose of this wasn't to be a signal service. Either way, I don't like the way this looks at all on GU. We want very defined institutional swing points, right? We want a clear leg lower to make a swing low, a clear leg higher to make a swing high, clear leg lower to make a stop hunt, and then displacement through the breaker. I don't like the way this looks at all. This looks like it went lower, then it consolidated in here. It did sweep out the lows here, but there's nothing clear. I want it to be very clear to the point where I can't miss it. Thoughts on the unicorn model for crypto? Yeah, you can use the model in any market, whether it's currencies, crypto, commodities, indices. You can also use it on any time frame. Some of my best long-term purchases came from weekly unicorns. You just have to understand that the higher time frame that you execute on, the longer the management will be. If you only take 2 trades a week, do you find it tough to mentally sit for so long without trading? No, I highly suggest that you look into trading less. There's a lot more clarity and simplicity. Having defined risk management protocols allows you to understand what is and is not a trade. On top of the fact that, if I wanted a 9-to-5 job, then I would have just found a career, right? Like I don't think everybody is sitting and staring at these charts for the hopes of staring at the chart all day long. Like people come here for freedom of time, freedom of location, freedom of finances. It doesn't sound like freedom of time if you're staring at the chart for all day long, every day. On top of the fact that there's a lot more important things in life, like family, like health, right? This allows you to spend more time with your family. This allows you to spend more time on your health. I would rather only be taking 2 trades a week so that I can go and hit the gym, right? Like I'm going to go to the fitness center after this live stream. Do you use the weekly chart for bias if daily is unclear? No. Anytime information is not clear, I'd rather do nothing and just wait. I don't look to change the model. I'll just be patient. Right? So I use daily as the bias, hourly as the market structure, 5-minute as the entry function. If I have no clear bias from the daily chart, I'll do nothing. How do you use change in the state of delivery? We did that perfectly here this morning. So, for example, in the beginning of the stream when we were developing the game plan, we were looking at this swing low here. Price was currently trading at this swing low, but we stated we were not going to instantly become bullish. We needed to see if we were displacing through the swing low or not. And the way that we did that was going to the hourly chart and looking at our market structure. If you look at our market structure, we have not had a change in the state of delivery. And that's what I pointed to in terms of creating our game plan today, was that we would need to have a bullish change in the state of delivery occur for me to think that we're going to move back internal. Well, take a look at what happened. Price failed to create a bullish change in the state of delivery. So it was very clear to me that we're still moving lower. The market structure did not change. All right, so it's not time to be bullish. That's how I'd use a change in state of delivery. On top of the fact that every single unicorn has a change in the state of delivery. If you think about the formation of a unicorn, right? Here's a short position for a unicorn. This is going to be a change in the state of delivery right here. Oh, wrong button. Right, so the entry function itself will always have a change in the state of delivery as well. But I mainly use change in the state of delivery on the market structure time frame as a confirmation to a bias. Right, it was very clear this morning not to be bullish because the market structure is displacing lower. There was no change in the state of delivery. It's getting rejected from a bearish FVG and continuing lower. Yeah, anytime. Always feel free to ask any questions. Always gladly willing to help. All right, so I am going to begin to wrap it up there. I'm very glad that we're able to get through a bunch of questions and answers. There wasn't anything for us to execute. It's more than okay. Like I had stated, I'd rather only take 1 to 2 trades a week. I'd rather be more patient and selective. There will always be another opportunity. So there's never a reason to force yourself upon the marketplace. On top of the fact that Every day is a learning opportunity. So it doesn't matter the results, right? Just because we're flat today doesn't mean that we didn't gain something from today. We gain more experience by showing up for our session. We gain more value by going over our model, right? Muscle memory is built through repetition. You don't have to risk something to get that repetition. So I greatly appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for all the people that participated today. We had a great
Appreciate
conversation.
Thank you so much for being here, Ash. I just want to say a couple of words as well. For anybody that also has not realized it yet, this is what discipline looks like. So as very rudimentary that I can just make it, it's if you don't see your model and you know that your model is going to materialize in the coming week, and you know that you're not liking this in typical training environment, then you got to just be disciplined with yourself, and that's what you're just seeing here. So um, just don't underestimate that, because a lot of people are just here like, oh, I didn't see a signal, or I didn't see a trade, or this and that. Like the lessons are very well seen. You just may not necessarily understanding them yet, but now is the time to realize, okay, well, you just saw a session materialize. No bullish breaker formed after the 9:30 bell. Being cognizant of news is very, very important. Trading psychology, extremely important. Knowing your order flow, knowing your daily direction, having a wonderful recap of notes for the day. And I just wish that everyone also has their own notepad and can kind of just share their own takeaways either in the chat or in the general chat, and also just be able to drop some love and appreciation for Ash. Always taking away something new, and always liking the conversations. So welcome anytime, and I appreciate you just being very professional and disciplined all the time. And it really just shows other traders that just being more patient is something that we all can learn more about.
Absolutely. And thank you once again for having me. I did record this, so I am going to get this posted on YouTube afterwards. Other than that, I greatly appreciate everybody here. I will be in the general chats after this, so if you have any other question or comments that haven't been answered yet, feel free to put them in the general chat, and we'll continue the conversation there.
Much love. Much love. All right, everybody, and please drop a heart in the chat. We appreciate Ash being here. We will see you soon next month, and we will take it from there. Okay. Appreciate everyone from being here. Have a wonderful rest of your week ahead. Please be safe, be kind, and check up on all loved ones. They all would love to hear from you. Family is very important, and we appreciate everyone being here as part of ours. So take it easy and be safe.